All right, hey guys, just wanted to take a few seconds and go over some of the stuff we've been doing. I think, I had class 7 today, and that was our second day in a row here going through this, and I do really think that they felt much better after class today, and they were feeling pretty confident, I think, with the material. So I think this will come. It just takes, obviously, as the case with most things, it just takes more practice. So let's do a few here. These were some of the problems from the last worksheet, some of which I've already went over, but I think for some of those of us that might have missed things, that this will only help. So to find let's start over here, right? We're going to find these four things, all right? Our vertical asymptote comes from taking the denominator and setting it equal to 0 and solving for x. And it will always be x equals because it's a vertical line. It's x equals -2 in this case. So -2, all right, is our vertical asymptote. The x-intercept comes from the numerator. And you take that, and all this writing that I'm doing is not necessary. it's whatever you want to do. Okay, you don't have to write down anything like that. You can probably just do that in your head. But our intercept would be -1, 0. The y-intercept occurs when you plug 0 in for x. And if I did that, if we just covered up the x's, we would get 1/2. So in other words, 1/2. All right, now the horizontal asymptote is probably, I guess, the most difficult one because there's a couple different cases. And you got to look at the exponents of the variables that are in the numerator and also the denominator. And it's really, if you have multiple variables, it's just the highest one. So the degree, right? The greatest exponent in both the numerator and the denominator. And when they're the same, as they are here, they're both 1, you divide the leading coefficients. So our HA here is going to be +1. All right, so what I would do is I would get those four things done. I would graph them. I'd plot the points that I came up with. And now that I have 2 points down here, I know what this curve looks like. And we always need points that are on the right and the left of this vertical asymptote. Well, we know what's going on the right. We have a curve here. If I were to pick another point out, all right, a point for x that's on the left of that, like -3 or -6 or -4, I'm going to plug that in. And I'll solve. So -2 over -1 is +2. So when x is -3, y is +2, which tells me that my curve is in this quadrant. Right? If it was in this quadrant, I would have got a y value in that quadrant, or I would have got one up here. But again, by us getting +2, it tells us that we are in the top left quadrant. All right? And that is the extent of what you have to do. Look, I'm going to jump down to number 5. All right, so this was one of the homework problems I assigned. I'll help you out by kind of doing this one now. So if the denominator is not factored, you should factor it because that's going to help you solve for your VA. All right. That is not correct. Sorry, the last number is 1. I think that was actually number 7 that I just factored there. So I apologize. But factors of 1 that could give me -2. It's got to be -1 and -1 like that. And if we take our denominator and we set it equal to 0, we'll get a vertical asymptote of +1. There are situations when your bottom exponent is going to be larger than the one in the top. As I said in class, the bottom is bigger. When that happens, the horizontal asymptote will always be 0. Our x-intercept, right, numerator equal to 0, we're going to get -1. Again, just if you need to, go off to the side, set it to 0, and solve. If I plug 0 in for x, we're going to get 1/1. So we're going to get 0, we're going to get 0, 1. Right? Because we would get 0 plus 1 up top They would cancel. So 0, 1 would be our y-intercept. All right, so let me plot some other stuff that I know here. Y-intercept right here, x-intercept right there. All right, so we're going to have a point that kind of goes through this, just like that. If I plugged in another value for x, let's see what we would get. All right, so let's pick a point that's to the right of the vertical asymptote. So I'll pick 2. If I plug 2 in for x, 2 plus 1, 3. 4 minus 4, right, plus 1. So I should get 3 over 1. So I plugged in 2, and I got 3. So 2, 3. Which tells me I have another curve that's up top here. All right. So again, with more practice, you're going to start seeing some patterns. But it's important that we understand, like, we can always plug in points. We can always figure out, hey, pick out an x and figure out what y is. All right. At this point, right, I guess depending on what class you're in, class 7 I feel like we're pretty confident with. Classes 1 and 5, we should be. And at least we should be good with these 4 things. And maybe we just still need some more practice to getting comfortable with how to graph them. But I think we're close. All right, so hopefully this video helps. But let me know if you have any questions, and we'll continue to go over it in class. Thanks, guys.